In these unprecedented times, working from home while also dealing with kids and your significant other also at home can be a very stressful time on your family. Given that we're all stuck inside and also stuck on our smartphones and mobile devices, it's not a bad idea to get off the grid by taking a walk with your family, playing a board game, and of course, turning off your TV so that you can have a good family conversation. And a great tool that you can use to help get you and your family off the grid is by using a Silent Pocket Faraday sleeve, which blocks all wireless signal, giving you an easy way to quickly get off the grid so you can focus on what matters most, your family. Silent Pocket is still shipping, so check out their full line of privacy products at silentpocket.com. And don't forget to use discount code SHAREDSECURITY to take 15% off your order at checkout. Welcome to episode 114 of the Shared Security Weekly Blaze. And we are joined once again with our favorite guest, Kevin Johnson. Welcome back, Kevin.
You don't have a high bar for guests, obviously, is what you're saying.
You know, we take who we can get.
Yeah, okay, well then I'm here.
You always seem to volunteer, so
I like it.
You're always back. Same. The feeling is mutual. So how you doing, Kevin? How you surviving the COVID-19 quarantine?
I've been practicing social distancing for 47 years. This is pretty normal for me.
Are you saying you're introverted? Because isn't that an introvert meme going around? No?
I haven't seen that meme, but I don't think introvert covers it. Look, I have trouble talking to myself. So
fair enough. Fair enough. And as my if you're on the YouTube, watching this on YouTube, I have the "This is fine" meme of everything burning around me. So just trying to have a little bit of fun in my isolation chamber, which is my office. So, well, thanks again for coming on the show, Kevin. And I wanted to bring up the topic of working from home and how to stay more secure, because it's obviously most businesses, unless of course you're in the restaurant industry or an actual business where you have to be physically there, most employers have asked their employees to work from home now. So I thought it'd be good to cover what your best advice is for employees and businesses as we've all kind of transitioned to this new working model.
I think my best advice depends on who I'm talking to. If I'm talking to the people who are working from home, my best advice is separate home from work.
Yes.
As somebody who's worked from home for years, I know you're in the same boat. It's very difficult not to have that. The computer's right there. I have that one thing that's I'm anxious about it. I've got to get it done, whatever. But have a separation. And I do acknowledge I'm a hypocrite. I tell people to do that. I don't do it very well myself.
It's hard. And that's my advice too, is have a personal laptop and your work laptop, right? And don't do any personal things on your work laptop. Keep it completely segmented and separate. But it is hard because sometimes you just want to jump on Amazon or use Facebook or something, and it's easy to blur those lines.
Yeah, I actually took up wood turning specifically to give me a hobby away from computers to help with that separation.
That's awesome.
And for people just starting to do work from home, that becomes important. On the flip side, for organizations that are doing it, I don't have knee-jerk responses. We've seen too many companies that oh man, our entire staff is work from home. We better do this. Whether this is open up access freely that we shouldn't open up, which we'll talk about again in a second, or I had a conversation with a customer that was like, well, what about people at home printing stuff? Well, are you not worried about them printing stuff at the office? Oh, that's different. No, it's not.
Not really.
Yeah. It's that knee-jerk response. Let's do this, whether it's a negative or a positive thing. It's don't do that. Think through what you're doing.
Exactly. And I've heard stories of companies just saying, take your work computer, just unplug it and take it home. And then that's the only advice they give them, because they've never had a situation where they have had employees working remote.
And it's great that they're giving them that option
Hmm.
and working with them, but they've got to support them better than that. Give them some advice. I know when I worked for a large bank uh, for 2.5 months, I mean, they gave me a router and a
Yeah.
laptop, and right, like it was all pre-configured, set up specifically to secure that remote workforce. That's what people need to start looking
Yeah, banks are very good at that. I remember when I was at the bank too, working remote, and they actually gave me a
at.
shredder.
Yeah, yeah. I had a
So
shredder. I had a
yeah.
print. It was ridiculous, and I gave almost all of it back. I want to be very clear. I did not steal any of it when I quit. They, I don't. I think it was the chair. They
Ah,
said, "Yeah, we don't want that back. Just
right.
keep the
Because you've
chair."
been sitting in it.
I get. I don't know. Everything else they
Kind of
took. The
weird to ask
chair.
for your chair back, but
I guess. I guess. Yeah, I think supporting the people,
yeah,
and there are lots of organizations that have released information for free, right? Specifically on how to secure these things. I that's one of the things I've been really impressed with is the, hey, this is this thing we do. We'll do it over here for free because people are in a bad situation.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of that.
A lot of good stuff going on with
Yeah,
free resources now, which is amazing.
yeah.
What are your thoughts on VPN, right? Because that's a big, everyone should be using a corporate VPN, right? Your work VPN. I've also heard, there's the split tunneling debate, right? Should you let your personal, everything that's not from work go through your
Or it's
home
the other way.
internet connection, or
Yeah.
just use the pure VPN from your company?
I think it really depends on the setup, right?
Yeah.
And I hate to say that, right? Like I always hate those answers. What do you think is the best option? Depends.
It
Man, you
does.
suck. But it really does, right? If if we're doing what you advised and a personal laptop and a work laptop, then everything on that work laptop should go through the corporate VPN. Period.
Yeah.
I done. If instead what you're doing is you're mixing, like I'll be blunt, I mix. I have a laptop here that is my work laptop, and I acknowledge I play World of Warcraft on it, and that shouldn't go through the corporate VPN, right?
Right.
And but it's a trade off,
Yes.
and so depending on the situation, I've also seen some really good things where instead of VPNing, they're giving them virtual desktops. So right, they come
Another good
in
solution. Yeah.
right to a virtual desktop environment. I'm not talking about a specific virtual desktop environment,
Hmm.
but and then that environment ships. I saw a really nice setup with Amazon Workspaces where you grant the user an Amazon Workspace and then you backhaul that AWS traffic into the corporate network, um, which was pretty nice. So it
Yeah.
all depends.
And now a word from our sponsor, Edgewise Networks. The biggest problem in security that remains unsolved are flat networks in cloud and data centers, with unprotected attack paths that allow threats to move laterally to cause data breaches. But microsegmentation using network addresses is complicated and takes too much time. But there's a better approach: Edgewise Zero Trust Auto Segmentation. Edgewise is impossibly simple microsegmentation, delivering results immediately with a security outcome that's provable. At the core of Edgewise Auto Segmentation is Zero Trust Identity, which allows workloads to communicate only after their software identity has been verified. Malicious or unimproved software is no longer allowed to communicate. Identity-based protection provides more coverage with fewer policies to make Edgewise simple to deploy and manage. No changes to the application or network are required. One solution protects virtual machines and containers in the cloud and on-premises. To stop lateral threat movement and prevent breaches, visit edgewise.net for a demo and to see results within minutes. What would you say to people that don't have corporate provided laptops and their employers are telling them, "Hey, you got to use whatever you have at home to connect into the corporate network"? Is there any special considerations that they should take?
I think that people need to start thinking about. I mean, there's the issue of privacy, right? and Zoom is one of those fun ones when we talk about privacy, right?
Yes.
uh, the minute you start using your personal laptop for work stuff, you start to open up some inroads for companies to look at things that maybe they shouldn't look at. Like, not to be rude or inappropriate, but I don't care if my staff watch porn. That's their business. Like, and I mean, from an opinion perspective, that's
Mhm.
their business. If I start letting them use their personal laptop to do work, where do those lines come in, right? I don't know. I don't know. Um, but I do think that my advice would be the same as securing your personal stuff anyways. You should already be patching and updating and locking things
Yeah.
down.
And talk to your employer and ask them what is
Yeah,
appropriate, what is not, and they should have a policy, right? Either
should.
from HR or
Yep.
IT, an information security policy that clearly states what is acceptable and what isn't. And if you're using a personal laptop now for work, you should most likely abide by those policies.
Yeah. I will also offer, it's the perfect time to say back to them, I'm not comfortable. Can I use a work laptop?
Yes,
Right? Your
I
example
agree.
of them saying, take your computer home. You have a computer at the office.
Yeah.
It's obviously not being used. Um, Pushing back on some of that might not be a bad idea. Um,
And I'd say the
yeah.
same thing for a mobile phone as
Yep.
well, is if
Yep.
you're not comfortable allowing, or using your phone for work or business, you should ask your employer, can I have a corporate phone
Yep. Yeah.
for work?
I don't, I won't say that nobody's ever been fired for asking for something like that, but I think
It
it is
depends on your company.
unlikely
Yeah.
that just asking is going to get you in
Yeah.
trouble.
Right. Exactly. Now, just from a security awareness perspective, obviously with the coronavirus and everything going on in the world, this is like a hot button right now for attackers, right?
Yeah.
They are all over this. I think more than any type of world event that I've seen in my lifetime, and probably
Yeah.
yours, Kevin. This is where attackers are, the phishing attacks, and just some of it is comical.
I
Admit
took that
so.
as you calling me old.
Oh,
Like,
well,
I
you
haven't seen it
are,
in my
but
lifetime, or even yours, Kevin. That's so much bigger. Yeah, no, and I think it boils down to, we know, and one of the articles you talked about was, the risk factor because of social isolation, right?
yes,
It
isolation.
is, we know that social engineering attacks are successful because people don't think through what they're being asked to do, right? And that urgency and anxiety and all of that makes it more likely you'll fall for the attack. When have you remembered a time that the world has been as anxious as it is right now, right? So
Yeah,
we're escalating the anxiety level, the urgency level, the, oh my god, I don't know what's going on and everything's different. It just makes it easier for social engineering to work. Um, so yeah, absolutely, I agree with you. This is the largest uptick in attacks I've seen. Now that's anecdotal. I have no scientific
sure.
evidence that, right? But it absolutely is, and I believe it's because of that we're already anxious, even if you're not. Jason Gillum, one of my business partners, and I were talking about it. We're used to working from home. We're used to not going out all the time and not doing this and everything else, but we're still anxious, right? And we're the people who are, so yeah, I think that that's the big change. And so attackers are jumping all over it. um it becomes even more important that you think through what you're doing, and especially with the changes in processes that are happening, it's easier for somebody to say, this is the process I want you to follow, go do this,
Yeah,
and you fall for it. So
right,
yeah.
right, exactly. So staying aware of all the different threats and being
Yeah.
extra cautious with your email. I mean, just the spam alone is, how many emails do you get in a day that starts with COVID-19 and then something?
Yes, I am keeping a list of every company that tries to sell me something because of COVID-19.
Oh,
That
it's
they're
crazy.
right, like
Yeah.
explicitly saying, don't get me wrong, right? We switched our training to virtual. Would like to sell it. but we're not saying to people, hey, due to COVID-19, sign up for this course. I'm amazed at and it's weird. Like I'm doing wood turning. I've decided to practice making pens because they're inexpensive and easy. And I got an email from one of these companies I've ordered some tools from, right? Like wood turning tools.
Yeah.
Like, hey, masks are important and you should buy And I'm like, what the heck? Like, you're a wood tool shop.
This has nothing to do.
Yeah, I'll never buy from them again. They lost every bit of business from me because I think it's disgusting. And that's just me, though. And luckily, there's other places I can get wood lathe tools.
Of course. So, and I think the other piece of advice, too, is, some people that are working from home now are isolated, and others now have their spouses or significant others also working from home, and their kids are home. And all of that adds a lot more stress than I think a lot of people have ever had to deal with in some cases. So I think, another way to combat all the cyber threats is to take care of yourself personally, right? Like go out for a walk, go for a jog, work out, do something healthy and, play video games or, anything as a distraction to kind of take away from that.
And keep in mind that distraction is needed. Like we keep talking we've got 19 staff members and we're talking to them every day and reiterating just because you're working from home, your family is different, the anxiety is there. And we're trying to make it very clear, we are not paying attention to deadlines the way we were a month ago, right? Take the time. If it's 2 p.m. and you're like, get up, walk out, to
take a break,
relax, take the time, do what you need to do. I'll admit we're in a good position to be able to do that, right? We can. Not everybody has that option, but do it. Get away from it. Stop watching the news.
I agree. All bad news anyway. So
the driving me crazy, the people who are like, oh, there's one more case here and there's 5 more. Look, we know that. Stop micromanaging your anxiety. So
So I hear you do have some training that's coming up. Why don't you tell our listeners about this training?
Well, we had some classes that we canceled. We've had a lot of other things we've canceled, and we decided to, because we're greedy capitalists, to move some stuff to a live online format. And we've actually got 3 courses coming out: our CISSP mentorship, our application security class, and our network pen testing course. And they're all available at our website. If you go out to tiny.si/PEAHS.
And we'll have that link in the show notes.
Awesome. It's Professionally Evil at Home is what that stands for. And the S is our social media tracking. Some marketing crud they're working on. So I like them. We are still offering our significant discounts for vets. So if you're a veteran, active duty military, first responder, and honestly, if you can't afford it, reach out to us. We'll do what we can to help you out. I would rather people learn than charge them money. That sounds dumb, but we've got ways to help. So
that's great.
Thanks.
Yeah, and I know you're still on the affordable training initiatives.
I've been pushing that hard.
Yes, we've had podcasts. If you're interested in Kevin's opinions of the training, we've actually did a whole podcast on, I think it was called "The State of Cybersecurity Training and Certification."
Too damn expensive.
Last year, and we'll link that in the show notes too if you want the full take of how Kevin really feels about that. But no, I really do commend Kevin and his company for offering,
thank you,
honestly, really affordable and really good cybersecurity training. And so check that out if that's something that you're interested in. I know we have listeners that are just getting into cybersecurity and looking for training themselves, and people in cybersecurity looking for affordable training. So I highly recommend Kevin's courses and classes.
I appreciate it. Talking about getting into the field, I just released a blog post that I went, and it's not comprehensive, but I tried to link to as many different other sources of good information, right? On there,
Great.
specifically for getting into the field.
Perfect. We will link that in the show notes too. Well, with that, we'll keep this short and sweet, but thank you once again, Kevin, for being on the show and providing your insights on working from home. And we'll hope to see you soon. So stay safe.
You too. You too.
All right. Take care.
Enjoy.